If this were about discipline, you'd procrastinate everything. But you don't. You only delay what forces a clear decision. The rest gets done. That's not blockage, that's choice in disguise. Procrastination has become a catch-all word. It explains almost everything that doesn't happen without accusing anything directly. When an important project never starts, it's procrastination. When a necessary conversation never happens, procrastination. When an obvious decision stays suspended for months, procrastination. The word sounds technical, almost clinical, and because of that, it feels neutral. It creates the impression that the problem isn't you, it's the system, your focus, your energy, your routine. Procrastination suggests a malfunction, not responsibility, something that happens when the internal system isn't working properly. And that's comforting, because malfunctions can be optimized. Decisions have to be owned. The explanation feels obvious because it matches real sensations. You sit down to do something important, open your laptop, look at the task, and feel a vague weight. Not fear, not conscious laziness, just resistance without a name. So you do something else. Check messages, adjust irrelevant details, handle things that weren't urgent. At the end of the day, guilt shows up, along with the automatic conclusion, I lacked focus, I wasn't disciplined, I was tired. Culture reinforces this constantly. Books, videos, courses, all repeating the same narrative. Procrastination is the enemy, discipline is the solution. And sometimes it works. That's what makes it dangerous. It works when no real decision is involved, when the path is already chosen, when execution is all that's missing. That partial success makes the explanation feel universal, but it isn't. There's a simple detail most people never say out loud. You don't procrastinate everything. You don't procrastinate eating. You don't procrastinate what's urgent. You don't procrastinate what you've already decided. Procrastination shows up selectively, precisely, predictably. It occurs where a decision is implied but not accepted. Important projects aren't delayed just because they're hard. They're delayed because starting closes doors. Starting means choosing, prioritizing, letting go. As long as you don't start, everything stays possible in imagination. And imagination doesn't demand consequences. The same pattern appears in difficult conversations. They're not avoided because of poor communication skills. They're avoided because they force a stance. Speaking means risk, conflict, commitment. Silence keeps things ambiguous, suspended, and ambiguity, as uncomfortable as it is, often feels safer than clarity. Here, procrastination isn't weakness, it's protection. Protection from the consequences of deciding. This is the part that actually hurts. Not deciding isn't neutral. It's an active choice to keep everything open. You're not stuck because you can't act. You're stuck because the cost of deciding feels higher than the cost of waiting. And as long as that isn't acknowledged, delay disguises itself as responsibility. I'm still thinking. It's not the right time. I need more clarity. These phrases don't reject the decision. They numb it. That's why they work. In the short term, avoiding decisions feels harmless. One more day doesn't matter. One more week seems irrelevant. A month goes by quickly. But time doesn't pause waiting for clarity. Unstarted projects become outdated. Avoided conversations become permanent distance. Undecided careers solidify through inertia. Nothing explodes. Nothing collapses. Life just moves forward without you choosing where it goes. Over time, something subtler happens. You start confusing intention with identity. You see yourself as someone who wants, who plans, who is about to start. But reality only responds to executed decisions. The gap between who you imagine yourself to be and who you're actually being widens quietly. And procrastination remains the official explanation, explaining everything while explaining nothing. Tools help after decisions. Habits help after decisions. Routines help after decisions. Without a decision, they only organize delay. Maybe the delay isn't a technical error. Maybe it's time bought to avoid owning something that feels too heavy. This interpretation offers no comfort, no solution, no relief. It just moves the problem somewhere less convenient. And usually that's where the conversation ends, not because it's finished, but because continuing would require deciding.